What's up guys, so in this video we're going to be breaking down the 6 factors of credit. This is the foundation to basically your credit score. By the end of this video you should have a really good idea of how the credit bureaus determine your credit score, what makes up that 6-digit number that you have. So the factors we're going to be going over are credit utilization, payment history, derogatory marks, credit age, total accounts, and hard inquiries, also known as new credit. Once you fully understand this, there's no reason why you should be getting denied for credit. If you understand this, everything else makes sense. So with that being said, let's get into the video. All right, so let's get into credit utilization. Now, credit utilization, and the way I have these listed is from most impactful to least impactful. So when you're looking at something like credit utilization, this makes up about 30% of your overall score. And as you go down the list, each factor impacts you less and less. Now, the way credit utilization works is the more you use, the lower your score will drop, right? So for example, let's say you have a $1,000 credit card. You have a credit card with a $1,000 credit limit. And let's say you used up $900 out of those 1,000. Well, those 900 out of 1,000 makes up 90%. So when that credit card reports over to the credit bureaus, it's going to show 90%, which you would be falling under the very poor category. Now let's take the exact same scenario, but instead of using $900, you only used $90 on that exact same card. Well, that would actually put you here under excellent, because $90 out of a $1,000 credit card, that would only be about 9%. So you see, with utilization, even though the banks give you a lot, they want to see that you use a responsible amount. It's very counterintuitive. They give you all this money, but they only expect you to spend a very small amount of it. That's just how it works. I work with credit repair, and one of the biggest issues I see is people usually are sitting around fair and very poor when it comes to their utilization, because they don't pay off their cards in full, which puts them in this category. And little do they know that if they simply bought down their utilization from fair or poor over to good and excellent, that's about a 100-point credit boost, between 50 to 100-point credit boost just from that. So credit utilization, really important factor. The best thing you can do is, if you have a credit card, make sure you're paying it off in full or almost in full every single month. That way you're always remaining in these green categories here. And this applies to all your credit cards, not just one. So if you have 5 credit cards and they all have $1,000 limits, you want to make sure to keep all of those utilizations extremely low, so your overall utilization also remains extremely low. Next is payment history. This one's pretty self-explanatory. As long as you're paying everything on time every month, this is not going to be a problem. One of the best ways to avoid having issues with payment history is setting up auto pay. Now, to quickly break down how payment history works, I'm going to show you guys something. And I'm going to show you guys how actually having more accounts helps you. If you have bad payment history, having more accounts actually helps you, even if you have some late payments in it. I'm going to show you here why in a second. So let's say you have one credit card, and from that one credit card, there's 12 months, right? We have 12 months in a year. So let's say you missed 1 month on that credit card for the entire year. So you've made 11 out of 12 payments. 1 was a missed payment. So if we do 11 divided by 12, that puts you at 0.91. So if you round it up, that puts you at about 92%, right? So if that one late payment reports onto your credit report, with that one credit card that you have, you're going to be at a 92% payment history, which is below 97, meaning that one late payment took you from excellent to very poor from one single late payment. Now, you guys do have to keep in mind, when it comes to late payments, this isn't like right away. A late payment is when you miss a payment and 30 days have passed. So if your statement due date is like on the 30th of the month and you pay on the 31st, that's not considered a late payment. It's only considered a late payment once 30 days have passed and you have not made that payment yet. So just keep that in mind. Now, keep this example in mind, this one that I showed you here, how from one credit card, one late payment can literally take you from excellent over to very poor. So let's make another scenario here. Let me open up a new calculator. Let's say instead of one credit card, you have 5 credit cards, right? So for 5 credit cards in a 12-month period, that's 60 payments, right? Because 12 times 5 is 60. Yeah. And let's say on one of those cards, just like on this one here, you missed one payment, right? So out of all that, out of the 60 payments that you had for all those accounts, you had 59 that were good, and then you had one late payment. So if we do 59 divided by 60, now that actually shows up as 0.98. And the reason for that is because all those other positive payment history that are being reported on the other accounts, that's actually helping you, even though you have one late payment. So with one credit card, one late payment will put you under very poor. With 5 credit cards with one late payment, that would actually put you here under fair. And that's because, like I said, all these other accounts that have positive payment history are basically offsetting that one late payment that you have. So you see the power of why having a lot of cards is sometimes beneficial. Not even just with payment history, but as we go down the factors, you'll see that in other places it helps as well. But even just one late payment can completely mess you up if you just have one card. So next, let's move into derogatory marks. Super simple. This one, again, if you're paying everything on time, in full, you don't have anything that's missing and no late payments, you stop paying your card for some reason or your loan, then you're not going to get any derogatory marks. Derogatory marks are just things like bankruptcies, collections, things that have gone from a positive account over to a negative account. Next is credit age, and a lot of people seem to be very confused with credit age. When it comes to credit age, guys, this takes the average of all of your accounts, okay? So if you have one credit card that is 10 years old, right, then you're going to be sitting at an excellent credit age, right? Because you have one card sitting at 10 years. However, if the next day you apply for a brand new credit card and you get approved, well, that card that you just got approved for is technically 0 years old. So 0 years old. So now what would happen is that you have 2 credit cards, one with a 10-year limit, one with one with a 10-year age, one with 0 age. And what would happen is you would get the average of those 2 accounts, and that would be your overall credit age. And it's very simple math, guys. If you just have a 10-year-old account plus a 0-year-old account, that gives you 10 years of age. Divide that by 2 because you have 2 accounts. That gives you 5 years of age. So when it comes to credit age, that is one of the factors that as a young person who's just getting started, it's going to take a lot of time to build out, right? That's why getting cards as soon as you turn 18 is one of the most beneficial things you can do, because the sooner you get a card, the more those cards can age. And with that age, that helps bring up your score, right? Because as you can see here, at any account that's sitting under 2 years, that's a very poor account, right? Even though, credit age is not a factor that impacts you that much. But obviously, the older the account, the better that is for you. You guys have to keep in mind, when the lender pulls your credit report, they want to see how trustworthy you are, right? They want to see, has this person made their payments on time? How long has this person had credit, right? That's super important. So credit age just kind of shows like, hey, I'm responsible and I've been responsible for a very long time. So you guys can trust to lend me money. This is another example that somebody told to me, or I read it somewhere. Would you rather get surgery from a surgeon who has 1 year of experience or a surgeon who has 10 years of experience? Just think about that. So next we move over to total accounts, which is really interesting. So what a lot of people don't know is that in order to get a perfect 850 score, which is what we're trying to get into here, you actually need to have more than 21 plus accounts reporting on your report. And that can be a mixture of credit cards, loans, mortgage, car loans, as long as there's 21 accounts reporting. If you're someone who for your entire life only holds between 0 to 5 credit cards, then you'll never hit that 850. Now, having an 850 is not that big of a deal, to be honest. Having a 780, everything between a 780 to an 850 is pretty much the exact same thing. If 2 people go to a dealership, one has an 850 score, one has a 780 score, they're both going to get the exact same rate. Just because you have an 800 plus does not mean you're going to get a better rate than the guy who has a 780. You're going to get the exact same thing. Honestly, having an 850 is more of like having the bragging rights. Like, hey, my credit is pristine. Everything is spot on. I've hit everything on the dot. It's perfect. So total accounts, that's one of those things that is really easy to build up, as long, if you're somebody who's comfortable and you feel like you're responsible enough to accumulate multiple accounts throughout the years, then hitting this is extremely easy to do. However, if you know that you're not responsible with cards and you only want to have 2 or 3 for the rest of your life, that's fine. You're going to be sitting under very poor, but that's not a problem, because as long as these other factors are doing well, just because one of the factors is sitting on very poor, it's not going to impact you negatively. But just keep in mind, the more accounts you have, it does actually help you out more. And again, it's very counterintuitive, just like the credit utilization. Banks want to see that you have a lot, like you have all this access to all this money, but you're only using a very tiny little bit. I don't know why. I don't know. That's just how it works. I don't make the rules. I just play the game. Now, the last one, guys, is hard inquiries. And hard inquiries is basically just any new credit that you get, right? So anytime you apply for debt, whether it's a personal loan, a credit card, a car loan, if they check your FICO credit score, they're going to hit you with a hard inquiry. Now, the more inquiries you have, obviously you're going to sit under the red category, the very poor. But the thing is, hard inquiries usually fall off, not usually, they do fall off after 2 years of sitting on your report without you having to do anything. They fall off by themselves. The thing you need to keep in mind about inquiries as well is that inquiries after 6 months, they're no longer relevant, right? So if you apply for a card and you have 10 inquiries, but they're all 6 months to a year old, then it's not going to be a big deal, right? The creditor who's pulling your credit is not going to be like, oh no, we're going to decline you because you have 10 inquiries from a year ago, from 6 months to a year ago. They're not going to trip about that. So if you're applying for something, just make sure that you have make sure you have no more than 2 to 3 inquiries in the past 6 months, and that'll help you out a lot. And as we get to the bottom here, hard inquiries are the least impactful, meaning even if you have a lot of inquiries, it's not going to hurt your score as bad as, honestly, having a late payment will hurt your score a lot more than having 40 inquiries, right? So the key to all this, guys, is just making sure that the strongest factors, the ones that impact you the most, are the ones that are always doing extremely well. Things that you can't control, like credit age or total accounts, that's stuff that's going to build over time, right? And luckily, those factors, they don't impact you as much because they sit towards the bottom. But at the end of the day, if you want to get a full-on 850 score, literally all you have to do is follow everything under excellent. Have between 0 to 9% utilization, having 100% payment history, no derogatory marks, your overall credit age sitting over 9 years, 21 plus accounts, and as long as you have 0 inquiries, if you follow all of these steps right here, you'll have an 850 credit score. And I actually want to show you guys something here real quick. When you log into your Credit Karma, you'll actually see these 6 factors right here. You see payment history, credit card use, which is utilization, derogatory marks, credit age, total accounts, and hard inquiries. So by simply understanding how this works, you can come to this and understand how this is made up. Anyways, I hope this helped you guys out. I know that as soon as I understood all this, everything kind of just, like the light bulb just sparked in my mind. I was like, okay, now that I know this, I understand how credit works. I understand when I can apply for cards, if I'm going to get approved or declined. If you understand this, you understand everything else.